Hey everybody, look at this, $189,000 for a Ferrari 550 from 1998 with 4,500 miles because it's a 6-speed. That has to be an incredible thing to know that this car, literally when it first came out, was only $200,000. And after, what, like, we're talking about a decade, almost 2 decades, what, 1999, 2000, 20 years, and we're talking about, what, 20 grand cheaper? That's like crazy. I just want you to try to understand that, because that's like losing like $1,000 a year to own a $200,000 car. Doesn't that sound incredible? Well, so incredible that actually I'm going to show you how to actually make $40,000, $50,000 on the same exact car. Here you'll find a 1999 red on tan 6-speed Ferrari 550. It's not the one from the ad. It's actually a lot better. First off, it's red without any single paintwork. It's even better because not only it's got a 6-speed transmission, but it even has this super rare carbon Daytona seats and this incredible quilt stitching found right here on the back. You see that? Now this is a perfect 550 spec car, and of course it wouldn't be a complete Ferrari without a 6-speed gated transmission, something you don't see anymore in a lot of these modern Ferraris because most of them are now discontinued. So the question becomes, why would exotic car hacks owner me ever buy a car like this? Well, you know why? Because I always teach you guys at Exotic Car Hacks that we love what? Money more than we love cars. And this is a perfect opportunity of understanding that a car like this is ultimately a giant investment, an opportunity to literally buy a car like this for $100,000 or so, and ultimately get out somewhere around $180,000 to $200,000 in just 1 year. Imagine doubling up your 100 grand in just 1 year. How many stocks do you know that paid double what you put in just 1 year, especially if you can actually put $100,000? A lot of risky penny stocks, right? Well, the thing with these exotics is that there is a revolution going on in the exotic car world, and it is called a 6-speed revolution. You see, a lot of manufacturers have stopped making 6-speed transmissions, making old 6-speed exotics worth a lot of money. We saw this with the 360 market. We saw this with the 430 market. We even saw this with the 599 market, where I remember a couple of years ago, you couldn't even get a 599 GTO to get off the lot at 200 grand, meaning that car was sitting at the dealership for 200 grand and nobody wanted it. And today, you can't even touch one for less than $500,000. So you got to start understanding why has this happened, and it all is linked back to that wonderful stick shift right in the middle. So one of the things with Exotic Car Hacks is we usually do a lot of modern exotics like my Aventador or McLaren right here, and talk a lot about the ability to drive for free. But often, you know, we talk about the ability to drive, exit, and ultimately just break even, in some cases do a little profit. What is better here with these kind of investments is that it's not just about driving for free, it's about profiting, and profiting big time. And one of the things that happens is once you get really good at this exotic car hacks game, you actually find opportunities just like this sitting right around your house without having to ship cars, and you just know what you're buying at what dollar. And so, you know, one of the things with this car is this is my latest acquisition. It is a 1999. It's got very low miles, with just 13,000 miles on the clock, and it's perfect. It has no warped dashboard, it has the quilt stitching, it has the Daytona seats, it has the red calipers, and outside of the shields that's missing on the side, the paint is in a spectacular condition without a single ding, dent, or issue, or any sign of paintwork as a fact. And that's what makes this car incredible. Now, how do I enjoy driving this car? Well, I don't really enjoy it, and I'm going to kind of show you why. It's kind of old now, and one of the things that I say is while these old classics are beautiful cars, they're just quite annoying to drive. First off, take a look at this. Look at how much smaller these cabins are compared to cars today. And also take a look at these switches. So old and so plasticky, but yet this was an icon in 1999 and one of the hardest cars you could be driving, right? One of the best things about this car was actually the same car that was in Bad Boys. I don't know if you guys remember Bad Boys 2. It was the exact same car in silver, or gray, I should say. But I want you to see how different exotics are today. So come on closer to this. So you can see this very analog-based dashboard, everything's there. And look at these buttons. We're talking about plastic here. Look, this is the way you activate the sport mode, or how you pop the trunk. And look at the AC units in this old Alpine unit. It's amazing how ancient this stuff's look. And then you have this little immobilizer key that you have to literally like press. And you see it, like now it can actually turn on. So you put this in the car, then you can only put the key one way. If you put it the other way, it doesn't really work. And then you turn it on. Listen to this. You hear that? Nothing. I'm gonna put the window down so you guys can see without hearing that annoying beeping. Now look at this. Just listen to this. Nothing. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It's horrible. But like, it's horrible, but it's like classically beautiful. But yet you absolutely don't want to drive it. And that's one of the things I've realized about these older cars, that while I love them, I just really don't want to drive them. But that's the beauty of it. With Exotic Car Hacks, you don't have to drive all of your cars. And I'm going to turn it off here so you guys can actually hear me. But these cars don't sound that good. And they sounded good back then. They don't sound this good because you have context of new exotics. But one of the things with these beautiful old cars is that they are worth something, and something that is significant when it comes to money, not necessarily the enjoyment of driving and so on and so forth. And while it is very exciting to drive a 6-speed, don't get me wrong, it just isn't as exciting as a modern Ferrari with the right roar, the right speed, the right control, the right electronics, and anything in between. So if you're considering an old Ferrari, I highly urge you to go drive one before you buy one, because even the Gallardo is getting dated these days. But as far as investments goes, there's nothing better than an old red Ferrari you can park away and double your money on in a year. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say with these old exotics. I'm not dissing them. I think they're incredible. They're part of a racing heritage history of the brand, which I think is very important. But obviously, you know, by sitting in this, we see the evolution of exotics so well, because you can start seeing like how fragile these cars were in the past. And that's one of the things I love about exotics today. And this is the misconception of exotics. People look at this car right here and will say something along the lines of, exotics break down, they're expensive to insure, and so on and so forth. And that is true if you're buying something like this. Why? Because look at how flimsy the doors are. Like, you hear things like actually shaking, and you feel like the car isn't solid like a new car. It's not a mass-produced number. It's very analog. It's a very bizarre experience. And it's only bizarre because I get to drive things like this every day. And if I didn't have context of choice, then it would be very, very different. I might enjoy this a lot more. But what's incredible here is that, again, I'm trying to tell you that exotics today are just much improved as a product. And while I would be worried driving this more than 5,000-6,000 miles without having some kind of mechanical breakdown, I wouldn't be worried driving any of these cars across the country for 20,000-30,000 miles, and I wouldn't have an issue with either the transmission, the engine, or anything else. And one of the things that's, you know, big to understand is that's why at Exotic Car Hacks we talk about driving these cars for free. And right now I'm showing you how you make an investment in a red Ferrari. So hopefully you understand that. If you really don't understand how these investments work, where I can drive an exotic for free, again, please feel free to go ahead and click in the description of this video. You'll see a free training for an hour-long literally video you can watch, presentation, where you can understand how you can get in and out of these exotics without losing any money, and in many cases actually learning to make investments like this. So hopefully you've enjoyed my latest acquisition. If this car does not bring me a hefty premium in the next week, it is going to get modified just for fun and be put under a cover for the next year or so, where I'm going to be able to enjoy looking at it a little bit more, because these wheels kind of look like iffy. And the benefit of this, I don't know, many people don't know, you can put a 345 tire on this, which is pretty interesting, and lower it from the factory, so you don't really need to do much in terms of modifications other than an exhaust and a set of wheels. But anyways, there you have it, something unfamiliar that's different for Exotic Car Hacks. But again, hopefully more of you, if you guys want to see more content about old cars, vintage exotics, or anything else, shoot me a little comment, like the video, and let me know which exotic you'd like to see me invest in, and I'll let you know if it's a good one or not. And again, just remember, Exotic Car Hacks is about driving cars for free, and in many cases, like this one, making a hefty profit. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.